very much. So welcome to this event, and a big thanks to Plug and Play for helping to arrange this. And I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Patel. I'm the Global Content Director of Money 2020. So that includes 4 event platforms, one in Las Vegas, one in Amsterdam, which is quite a sexy event, one in Singapore, and then our newest baby on the block, which is in Hangzhou in China. So we're going to start very shortly, but I kind of wanted to just share a couple of things with you guys. One of the things that I get asked pretty much on a daily basis is what happens to Money 2020 when we approach the year 2020? So I get a few wise guys saying, are you going to change it to Money 2050? I get a few jokers saying Money 3000. And so I tend to pick myself up from the floor, clearly bereft of ribs, and tell them that it's the vision of money. So it's all about the future of money and how we do 6 simple things. And those 6 simple things are how consumers and businesses spend money, save money, share money, borrow money, manage it, and lastly, protect money. And so if you think about these 6 simple things, it should be quite easy to do, right, in today's world. But we've kind of put, for many years, these structures in place, whether that's financial, regulatory, or even government-based, to govern how we do these 6 simple things. And in the last, say, 5-10 years, and certainly since the financial crisis in 2008, so it's the 10-year anniversary, pretty much a bad anniversary in my eyes, that these things are starting to break down. These structures that we put in place, whether that's financial, regulatory, or government-based, are beginning to break down. And so we're seeing an advent of disruption and real groundbreaking innovation driven by technology, but also bright minds in our industry. And so that's what the vision of Money 2020 is all about. That's why we exist as a brand, and that's what we aim to do through these 4 event platforms. So in just over a month's time, we've got an amazing event coming up in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is where Money 2020 pretty much began. And so we're going to bring together over 10,000 people to come to Vegas and talk about the future of money. And it's going to be from people from all over the industry, so a variety of different sectors, whether that's banking, whether that's startups, whether that's tech players, whether that's retailers, or even payments companies and associated suppliers. And so this year, we have an awesome lineup for you guys. We have Richard Branson coming all the way across from the UK, and he's got a similarly funny accent to myself. We also have the rapper Akon, who's going to be talking about his cutely named Acoin project. We have Chris Larsen, the chairman of Ripple. I'm sure you're all aware that earlier on this year, he was probably one of the richest men in the country, and things slowly turned south for him. We also have Jed from Stellar, and there was a recent announcement, which I'm sure you guys picked up, of the merger or acquisition between Stellar and Chain. And so they're going to be talking about what that means for their business and what the future may hold for the future of kind of tokens in particular. So it's going to be an awesome lineup. The last thing I want to leave you with is an event that we're launching shortly after Vegas in a small country called China. And so this event is essentially going to be held at the home of Alibaba and Ant Financial. So one of the largest kind of commerce companies, as well as one of the largest financial institutions in the world. And so with Ant Financial in particular, I'm sure you're aware that they had a whopping funding round earlier this year, and now they are valued at 150 billion, which makes them one of the largest financial institutions in the world. So we're actually launching in their hometown to really discuss and debate the future of these 2 marketplaces, so China and the US. So we're bringing these 2 countries together to talk quite a bit about how these 2 largest fintech markets in the world can do business together. So whether that's investments coming out of China, whether that's partnership opportunities, because if you think about it, China has one of the largest fintech marketplaces. And so there are lots of opportunities, and we kind of centered it around 5 themes. One of the themes is around digital transformation within banking, and particularly around the concept of a super app and how banks can actually gather and launch products akin to having a super app for their marketplaces. So that's one of our front and center themes. The other one is around artificial intelligence. and how there are so many great experts from China, as well as this part of the world, the US. So we hope to bring some of the brightest minds in AI together to discuss different philosophies, different approaches, and the advancements that these two giant marketplaces are making in terms of artificial intelligence and machine learning. The next one is going to be around regulatory, and as you're all aware, in China, it's quite tricky to set up businesses if you're an overseas company. So we're going to bring a lot of case studies together and kind of shine a spotlight on how the central bank, which is the People's Bank of China, is approaching fintech and financial services and commerce. So it's a great opportunity to kind of hear from the regulator and understand how you can actually do business in that marketplace. The last point is around kind of IPOs and internationalization. So some of you may be aware that there is a wave of Chinese companies that are seeking to IPO. And so we're going to shine a spotlight on some of these big tech giants that are looking to raise massive amounts through IPOs. We're also going to talk about internationalization, so how Chinese companies can partner with US companies and other companies from around the world, and also vice versa. How can companies from, say, this part of the world, for you guys basically, partner with Chinese companies and even seek out investment or funding? So there are some of the topics that I kind of wanted to kind of share with you. We still have some speaking spots left on our agenda in China. Unfortunately, our Vegas agenda is largely full. So if you want to know more about what's going on in Vegas or going on in China, just come and have a chat. I'm going to be around all day. So thank you very much, and I'd like to pass over to the wonderful Mr. Saeed, the CEO of Plug and Play. Give him a big round of applause, please.
Do you mind staying up here? I want to ask you a couple of questions. This is a change of plan, just so you know. So I consider Money 2020 the best event organizer that shows the future of fintech. Can you tell us when Money 2020 got started?
Sure. I paid him to say that as well. So it got started in 2012 by two entrepreneurs that had just sold their business into Google to form essentially part of the Google Pay product that is today. And so they felt that there was a need in the marketplace. And there were a few needs that they kind of cottoned on. That one was that payments audiences were meeting on their own, so they'd have their own conference. Bankers would also have their own conference. Retailers had their own thing going on. Startups and VCs had their own thing going on. And so these two entrepreneurs, I would say they're quite visionary. They decided that there was a strong need for collaboration across these different verticals to advance the future of financial services and payments. So they set it up on that one premise. The other premise was that they were attending a lot of events and they had to kind of leave their personality at the door because they found a lot of the other events quite mundane. And so they wanted to inject something that was a bit of fun, a bit lively, and more importantly, quite edgy. So on those two reasons, they set up Money 2020 way back in 2012.
Next question from the audience. How many of you been to Money 2020 in Las Vegas? You know, I don't see everybody's hand. I tell you, if you go to one event per year in your business, it has to be Money 2020. And he actually doesn't pay me to say that. But if I can say you have incredible speaker, you have incredible panel. When I started going, I think it was 3,000-4,000 people. Now it's about 10,000 people. And now you're taking it regionally. What is the future? Is your future, from what you said, is it China? Like it's going to be a big, there is about a few people living in China. So what is the future other than China?
Sure. So I think the concept around the blurring of lines between a consumer's social life, retail life, and financial life, I think we're beginning to see that trend emerging. And certainly it's emanating from China, with Ant Financial driving it, but also WeChat. But we're beginning to see that happening now across the ASEAN region, so countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. And so I see that as one of the hottest trends in kind of payments, financial services, but more kind of a lifestyle thing. But I would say it's a mismatch across the Asia region. India has some amazing developments going on. They have an identity stack which has 1 billion people all on this biometrics platform. And so the future of India is for once, I think, it's been a while since I can happily say this as a proud Indian that, the future is very bright.
Wonderful. Please give it for Pat Patel. Thank you so much. Thank you.